Alan Ritchson blasts the MCU. He says, I sit back and yawn at Marvel Studios regurgitating comic book stories. I also feel like this is like, it's safe to say this now.
Yeah, now that everyone kind of agrees.
Yes.
It's like not the first time I've heard this opinion, but this is from his recent interview with GQ. Like everybody else, I sit back and yawn at Marvel movies regurgitating comic book stories that we've seen 1,000 times because they're the only way studios feel they can make money. I want to be a solution. I want to do something about it. So I'm using every bit of leverage that I have to create new, compelling stories. That's my mission.
Which is funny because what he really wants more than anything is to play Batman.
Yes.
I actually think he would be a great Batman. But
that's not an original new story. That's like,
it's going to be the same thing it always is. They're like, we're gonna adapt The Long Halloween. We're going to The Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah.
It's the same thing every time, right?
Like DC movies are honestly, in my opinion, just as bad as Marvel movies. They just make less money, and even Marvel movies are failing.
No, DC movies are much worse than Marvel movies.
You think?
Yes.
Aquaman 2. Flop.
I'm not saying that Marvel, like every Marvel movie is good, but I think that I think Marvel's had some great movies, whereas I don't think
recently.
No, I'm not.
I'm
saying
talking about all recent releases, as in like the last.
I don't think DC's ever really put out good DC movies. I think Man of Steel was decent. But like,
you mean other than the Dark Knight trilogy?
Yeah, other than the Dark Knight trilogy, like, because that's kind of standalone. I mean, I know that Batman's in the DC universe, but like, that's not like the JLA stuff they've been putting out. Like even Wonder Woman
DC
and
is
stuff.
Well, Wonder Woman was good. The first Wonder Woman was good. A lot of people would say that prior to 2016, DC's bag was animated movies, which they were. They were much better at doing animated films.
Mm-hmm. But the MCU just has more cultural clout than DC.
Yes.
But that's a creation of the MCU. That's not because of the characters or anything, or this.
What do you mean a creation of the MCU?
So they have the cultural clout, not like, so before Tony Stark, before Robert Downey Jr. was playing Iron Man, people didn't really care about, like, the country didn't really care about it. So it's like it was all Marvel that built that.
Right, yeah.
And
but it's in the same period of time, both franchises have gone downhill at the same time.
A lot of people would just say that the DC universe never took off with the Justice League, with
that's kind of,
Batman versus Superman.
But like The Rock thought that he was the solution for DC, and now Alan Ritchson is going to try his hand, and it's just... No.
I don't know if there's an actor that I can think of that I would really trust as being the person to like shepherd in a new era for DC storytelling. I don't think they really have that right now. Again, I don't know if I'm in the minority, but I didn't like Matt Reeves' The Batman. It just didn't speak to me. I didn't like the Riddler character. I thought it was overly, like, 2 hours and 50 minutes already makes me hate your movie in a lot of ways.
It was terrible. I don't know why people liked it so much at the time, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, I will say that it visually pulled off a great look with its aesthetics, but that doesn't make a good movie automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to Alan Ritchson, like, he does really, really well as Reacher, but I don't know. I wonder if I would actually like him more if you could see a more brutal side of him playing Deathstroke. Like, he's built in a bigger sense. I might like seeing him as Deathstroke instead. But Batman, I guess he could pull it off. They're certainly not going to get Armie Hammer anymore, because
that was in consideration.
He a lot of people for a long time fan casted him as Batman.
That's funny.
So I look at this and I just see a dude who looks to have all of the right Hollywood opinions, and this is like his version of an edgy opinion when everyone knows that Marvel movies have been garbage for a long time.
Yeah, wasn't it Martin Scorsese who first got hate for saying the same thing?
I mean, he wasn't even really criticizing the movies as much as he was saying they're not films, they're just roller coaster spectacles, they're not actually art. I would argue that he's wrong about that in certain senses.
It's art. It's just bad art.
That there are Marvel movies that are really good. I will always say that Winter Soldier is not just a good comic book movie; it's a good film. It's what makes the downfall so bad, is watching the way that Nick Fury goes from being a very serious character in that film to being a complete joke. And when I heard him say Black Girl Magic, I'm like, this is not the same guy who in a previous film argued with Steve Rogers about the horrors of war and the sacrifices that the greatest generation had to make for their country. And then I hear him talking about Black Girl Magic. I'm like, that's fundamentally a different person.
Yes.
Right? That's the problem when you keep a character on board through 9 writers. And one of the things they used to say is like all Marvel movies feel the same. To an extent, visually, they did have a lot of the same aesthetics. But how can they all feel the same when that character feels so in place in one movie and so out of place 10 movies later? Because it's not what it used to be. It doesn't have any of that same feel of familiarity that it had in the earlier movies that felt repetitive but kept you inclined to paying attention because it all felt like it existed in the same world. And it doesn't have that anymore. And DC definitely doesn't have that with their storytelling, and they can't get stuff off the ground anyways. I just saw today, however, that James Gunn was talking about the debut of Superman and all of this stuff. And again, James Gunn isn't the person I would have chosen to launch a Superman movie, and we can end up seeing where that goes. But we're a long way off from casting and then filming Batman in their world anyways. Like, we're not going to see that for 3 to 5 years, I would guess. If it takes 2 to 4 years by the time it gets done, production, filming, everything's through. So he's just... a lot of people are saying that him and all his opinions that he's saying lately, the stuff about cops, the stuff about Trump, this is him basically saying, hey, me. I want to play
pick
Batman.
me. He's literally being a Hollywood pick me.
He is. He's the biggest, bulkiest pick me you've ever met. I still love it. I love him as an actor. I still think he's good at his job.
I'd hate the idea of that being true. Maybe you might be correct. I don't know, but I hate the idea of that being true.
He is also, I like how this article throws shade and says recently admitted to testosterone to help him get jacked for his Reacher season 2. They just throw it. It's got nothing to do with the article. They're just like, we don't like this dude, so we're going to dunk on him.
That was new information to me, though.
No, he's, there was, I mean, that's not even new information. That was like 6 months ago.
Okay.
That came, he was giving an interview and was talking about TRT, stuff like that.
At least you're being honest.
Yeah, of course. So we'll have to wait and see where this comes. But my idea for Batman was always, like, when it came to DC movies, wasn't to even introduce it because he's such a crutch for them anyways. Like, they can't sell. Like, in their comics, you have DC Comics and then you have Batman. Batman basically keeps the company afloat in a lot of ways. I thought what they should have done is use Batman the same way they use Nick Fury in Thanos and make him a post-credit character in all of the solo films leading up to the introduction of Justice League.
That would have been great.
So what you do is you have him basically in each movie, you have him documenting each of these new, metahumans that are appearing and build like a wall in his, in the Batcave and start tracking them all and build stuff in all of those films from Aquaman to Flash to Wonder Woman, and then do Man of Steel after that. And then you have Man of Steel first and then you have all of those. And in all of them, he's searching for kryptonite. All of that leading up to finally doing Batman vs. Superman like 5 or 6 films in. But you don't even have to actually show him in those post-credit scenes until you actually cast the actor, because you could just film from the back of his head. He's wearing the cape but no cowl, and you can do that without actually casting him. But they were too quick to jump the gun, and they wanted to get Batman out there.
We got a $20 from Rhaegar Targaryen. We need preppy white guys in a new Jack City reboot, Samoans in a reboot for Glory, Indians in The Mob and The Godfather, Frenchmen in the Dora Milaje in Black Panther, more Chinese in Egypt in the 10 Commandments, # it's time.
French Dora Milaje would be hilarious.
Milaje, okay.
Yes, they should do that. And I'm yes, Chinese. That's perfect. We have all sorts of diversity that can come out. It's going to be great.
It's exciting.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.